please welcome our moderator with a big round of applause, Mr. Ravi Chamriya, co-founder and CEO of Zeev. Zeev is an enterprise-grade, no-code blockchain infrastructure automation platform that enables easy deployment, monitoring, and management of blockchain nodes and networks. At Zeev, he aims to radically simplify the entire blockchain DevOps through automation and plug-and-play services. Within only 1 year of its operations, Zeev is catering to 10,000 plus enterprises, blockchain startups, blockchain consulting companies, and Web3 developers. Mr. Chamria, it's a pleasure to have you join us today. Mr. Chamria, I think there's some issue with the internet at your end. We cannot see your video. Yes, your video is visible, but I think we now can't hear you. All right, I think I'm going to just wait for another minute before Chamria gets online. Can I request Mr. Aman from the organizing team to join us here? Technical glitch. Sorry and for the inconvenience. Can I request Mr. Aman from the organizing team to join us? All right, we have Mr. Ravi.
Yeah,
Welcome,
hi.
sir.
Yeah, so I think this is definitely better now.
Yes, it is. It is. And thank you again for joining us today. A bit of a glitch, but we're happy that you're here. So the stage is all yours to get started. You
Okay.
can, if you would like, you can put your phone in landscape mode. It'll give us a much better view.
Uh, yeah, is it better
Yeah,
now?
yeah. Like on in a horizontal view, if you can just turn your phone in the landscape view. Yes, yes. This is absolutely perfect. Thank you so much. Yes, so the stage is all yours. We would like you to start the session.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Ravi. I'm the co-founder CEO of Z, a Web3 infrastructure as a service startup. First of all, I would like to congratulate CWC for organizing such a fabulous event. And I'm very excited to be part of this panel discussion. We have some great panelists today on the show. So the topic for today is Web3. Web3 has been the buzzword, especially in last 1 year. Blockchain has been, playing a key role as far as Web3, the new version of internet people are talking about. Um, but at the same time, there are a lot of buzz. Some of the buzz is supported by real implementations happening. Some of the buzz is just, empty buzzes. So the idea of this panel discussion was to bring in some of the seasoned Web3 startups in the space from India, and through that, try to learn what is hype, what is reality, how these Web3 startups are playing a humongous role in Web3 adoption in India and elsewhere. So welcome everyone to this panel discussion. I hope you'll enjoy this. So first of all, I would like to quickly give the names of the panelists, and then I would request the panelists to give a brief introduction about themselves, including what they are doing in the Web3 space. So we have, first of all, I would like to my partner, co-founder Ghan, who is the co-founder CTO of Z. He's on the panel, and then we have Srishti. Srishti is leading from the tech side a startup called Unicus. They are into Web3 as a service, providing NFT as a service and various other pieces within the NFT and Web3 space. Then we have Kuntal. Kuntal started a Technoledger, and I'll ask Kuntal to talk about more about a Technoledger, how they are redefining the NFT space or sorting out the or creating standardization in the digital asset space. Then we have Rahul Kaushik. Rahul Kaushik has created a big name in the metaverse space, and we'll learn from Rahul about what they are doing in the metaverse, what MetaVale is all about. And then we have Suman. So Suman has been leading the blockchain practice at LTI, and it would be great to hear from the consulting side as to how the things are moving in the Web3 space. So again, once again, welcome all the panelists. Now I would request each of the panelists to give an introduction about you, how you started this journey, what your startup is into. So idea is to let's spend about a minute or two on each of the startup that we have, and then we can talk about Web3 in general. Yeah, so Ghan, I think we can start with you.
Hey everyone. So my name is Ghan, and I've got about 15 years of experience into the industry. I started my career with telecom, moved into defense and aerospace, did some crazy aerospace techs as well, and then I moved into media and broadcasting. And being into multiple industries kind of created a different version of me in these years. And then when blockchain kind of struck me, I saw a different version of infrastructure, different version of networking happening around us, and I could actually relate how blockchain could change things. But not until when I started Zeev, along with Ravi and our team, where we started building tools and weapons for blockchain adoption, which makes DevOps, development, access, delivery easier. So Zeev is a infrastructure automation platform for all sort of blockchain deployment, configuration, monitoring, analytic kind of requirements, where developers come in, platforms integrate, and they get easy access to how they do blockchain. So they can deploy networks, they can configure their nodes, they can set up their endpoints, they can create decentralized storages, they can monitor all of it in under one umbrella, which is Zeev. So this is a quick on Zeev. I think I'll pass on to Srishti now.
Yeah. So, hello everyone. I'm Shrishti Singh, and I started my journey in Web3, which has been 4 years now, as a blockchain developer. And during this phase, I got to see that there's a lot of hype or buzz as we're talking about being created around it. But the supply of good developers who are into Web3 is there's a shortage of that. So we started building Unicus One along with my co-founder Tashish Raisinghani. And Unicus One is a Web3 as a service platform, which is similar to the SaaS thing which we have heard of. And we have a bouquet of solutions like SDKs, APIs to transform a Web2 application into a Web3 application within 15 minutes. Also, we have seen the hype around NFTs, how we tokenize artwork and collectible. So there's a misconception amongst most of the audience that it's restricted to artwork only. So we are focusing on real world asset tokenization as well, and we are planning to put some real use case into this Web3 thing. That's it. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Srishti. Rahul, over to you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Rahul Kaushik. I'm the founder for MetaVale World. Eventually, I started off my career as a US IT recruitment consultant, hired for topmost developers all over North America. But in the year 2017, got to know more about blockchain and eventually got fascinated and just thought how I can contribute it up. So since Since before that, I had a very keen interest to learn more about the technical analysis. So I started off my journey as a future trader. Did massive trading, high leverage things for around 3 years, and after that, I realized that trading is not the only thing that is. That is the possibility that we people I can personally do, but eventually I formed up a community which is much more onto the blockchain space, developing good products and helping out the community at the end. So that's how we started MetaVale World, which is a dedicated NFT marketplace for to the metaverse, which is multi-chain into the nature. So as of now, we have integrated Ethereum, Polygon, as well as the Binance Smart Chain into it, but possibly looking out for more blockchain partners to getting integrated, and likewise building up the entire ecosystem into Journal. Whereas NFT marketplace for to the metaverse is one of the product which we have already launched. The another product would be the blockchain based decentralized gaming. And likewise, as we are a bootstrap startup, looking forward to getting connected with more partnerships who are specifically into the blockchain space. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Rahul. Now, Kuntal, we would like to know about a bit about A Technology.
Yes, thank you, Ravi. And it's been pleasure that you guys are hosting this event. Well, as introduced by Ravi, I'm Kuntal Ganguly. So I'm one of the co-founder of a product company known as Acknowledger, as well as I am one of the co-founder for a Web3 consulting company as well, which is Coiny Consulting. Well, I have been there in the Web2 domain since now over a decade. So I worked with various giants like IBM, HP, VMware, against the development of applications to delivery of mission critical applications to building data centers and so on. So my journey in this blockchain space has been started since 2016. I have been into this space. I started understanding the DLT and the blockchain architecture all together, and that's how I got a visionary aspects towards the Acknowledger, which we guys are building right moment of time. Prior to this Acknowledger, I've been into strategic investments as well as advisories of Web3 companies, basically, and also helping Web2 businesses to transit to Web3. And coming back to the introduction of Acknowledger, Acknowledger is a 3 years old organization, the brainchild of three co-founders, me, Yash, and Abhishek. So there's a lot of noise currently when you could see into the metaverse space and the digital asset space. So we have visualized that going forward, these digital assets are not only going to be collectible, as Srishti has rightly mentioned. There is going to be a lot of utilities as well as attributes associated with these digital assets. And currently, the major lack in this ecosystem is there is no proper discovery platform. If you today, Rahul or Bhan would probably like to buy an NFT, however you guys are pro in this space, is imagine a consumer who is looking forward to own a digital assets. There is no proper discovery platform. They might fall for the influencer spaces or a Twitter influencer or a YouTube influencer, buy this on speculative hype, and across that they bought those and minted it on the OpenSea and just wait for the growth of those digital assets. But what about something which is having a lot of attributes associated with digital assets? So Acknowledger here brings the solutions for streamlining this digital assets and metaverse space. So we are a global consortium where we are working for mapping these digital assets, and not only mapping, we work for M2D model, which stands for mapping, monetizing, and distribution of these digital assets. So imagine it as an amalgamation of a solutions similarly to a coin market cap and a 1 inch aggregator. I might say that we're going to be visionary towards being the Google of this Web 2 to Web 3 transition phase. So these digital assets are to be discovered, and our platform, we have developed a unique search engine mechanism where you can fire complex queries to understand the digital assets, not only in terms of pricing or the social proofs, but apart from that, digital assets may have a certain attributes like maybe a rental yield, lending borrowing mechanism associated with it, arbitrage opportunity going forward. So that's what the indexing tool does for Acknowledger. And apart from mapping and indexing those attributes, the next thing we would probably like our consumers as well as our business holders to monetize those digital assets. Now we have building a top of the discovery mechanism. There is a monetization layer. Imagine something you own, or Suman sir or Ravi sir, you hold an assets. Maybe it's an in-game assets like a racing car or something. You're probably not playing the game. You would probably like to lend or borrow it or rent it away to other players for a span of 7 days. So we have a DeFi integration in places where you guys could come and rent your digital assets. So that's how we are building a monetization aspects, ranging from your collaborative platforms to DeFi integrations to other aspects of arbitrage and one-click buy and all those stuffs we are going to integrate into our monetization layer. We are coming up with something known as NSO, which is pretty similar to your search engine optimization, which we could see. So there could be a lot of NFT search engine optimization mechanism that can be deployed on our DBs, and we can run analytics on top of it. So going forward, when we say that we do mapping, we help these assets to monetize, and then we are working on something known as UCNS, which will help in distribution of these assets. Now, what we could see the future is the digital assets are going to be interoperable. It's going to be multi-chain. It's going to be multi-metaverse, and the metaverse integrations are pretty important. So development of a protocol and a certain centralized standards are required for adoption of this interoperable functionality going forward. So there we have introduced something which is pretty interesting aspects of Acknowledger, which is known as UCNS. UCNS stands for Unique Content Numbering Scheme. So imagine, or giving you a closest analogy, something which we could see for ISBN is similar to doing to all the books. It's a unique identifier for the book worldwide. So we are going to standardize the digital assets going forward by building a repository out of it. So that's how we're building with Acknowledger. We were fortunate enough to launch our native token last year. We've been supported by 30 plus tier one VCs and a lot of global QLs, and the thought leaders are backing us. So fortunate enough. So that's a short introduction. Maybe we can go ahead with the other discussions as well.
Yeah, thanks, Kuntal. It was very interesting to hear about Acknowledger and the interesting things that you are doing. Now coming to Suman, a brief introduction about you and what you are doing in the Web3 and blockchain space.
Yeah, good evening. Firstly, I hope I'm audible there. And
Yes, yeah, we can hear you.
My co-panelists. And first of all, thanks for Crypto World Conference to get us going. And just hearing through all of you, I would say that's how I'm poised, in the sense, presently I'm with LTI and I'm heading the Web3 practice. And where I come from is a blockchain space. I've been, the association started somewhere in 19 with when I was in ISB and did a capstone. From there on, there were a couple of startups I've been associated with. The last one is known for the blockchain in supply chain. And in fact, we closely got related, or I would say associated, with UN Innovation Fund to understand the digital public good. And my last one of the flagship products there is a DPG. There lies the essence of how I see, or we in fact, the vision matches with what the LTI leadership has, which is let's solve the problems through which we look at. And what are they? And therefore, here we are incubating Web3, already having a blockchain practice, because that's how we're evolving. Because as we see, that Web3 represents a larger ecosystem of innovations which are underpinned by blockchain. I'm just quoting even what Gartner in his own hype cycle has represented. So that is where we are at LTI, providing and looking at providing services to our customers, some old, some new, in the space of Web3. And towards that, we're incubating. And as of now, like I'm sitting in this esteemed guests who are all from specific startups, we are looking to how we can actually leapfrog, if not pole vault, with this technology and get to the next killer app. So that is how we are poised at LTI, where I head the practice. Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Suman. Yeah, so I think we have heard brief about all the startups that we have on the panel today. Now moving on to understanding. So one way to understand how the adoption is happening, what kind of applications are being implemented, and what is the kind of usage that we see in the market. So the best way is to see, what kind of user adoption we have, or the community around the with different Web3 projects that we have. So first, starting with Srishti. So in Unicus, you have built quite a few tools like, if somebody wants to convert their business from Web 2 to Web 3, or, so they can use some of the ready services, Web 3 as a service that you provide. So what kind of adoption you are seeing in terms of partners, customers, community?
So, if we talk about the adoption, Web two, which we are not competing against Web two. It's a misconception in the market that Web three is against Web two. It's Web three versus Web two. But we are here to complement each other. So we have already seen the internet progress. We have seen Web 1, we have seen Web 2, and now we are progressing towards Web 3. So Web 2 phase, which is said to be, around, have started around 2006, the adoption took its time. Cut to this day, Web 2 is a part and parcel of our life. We all use Web 2 applications. So similarly, the adoption rate actually of Web 3 has, the path for that has been paved by Web 2, because the user experience of Web 2 and Web 3 will be very similar. We are still gonna post something on the internet, we are still gonna browse the internet, we are still going to play games. So the adaptation would be quite faster. And we all, as at an individual level, we emphasize on the term decentralization a lot. But if you get to know that the value it adds to the user experience of a internet user, we are going to embrace it. So Web3 takes care that the actions which we have on the internet, we are the sole owner of that. We have the ownership of whatever execution takes on our behalf. And this use cases, these use cases are getting validated. Web2 companies are migrating towards Web3. Investors are believing it and putting in their funds. So even at Unicurs, we have been seeing people coming up to us with lots of requirement who are already into Web 2, and now they want to shift to Web 3. So the adoption rate has been quite good, as expected for a nascent technology which has not seen a lot. It's quite good to see the adoption rate.
Yeah. So, Kuntal, a follow-up question with you. Since you are defining some standards in the NFT space, and we have seen that in last 1.5 years, NFT space, especially on the collectibles art side, boomed a lot, and the overall number of wallet holders for different NFTs has have seen an exponential growth. Things, yes, have been toned down in the last few months, but overall there has been a wider adoption. In fact, many people got into Web3 either buying tokens or buying NFTs. So, what kind of adoption you are seeing in terms of standardization? Um, like how you have been able to see the partner ecosystem growing or the users growing in the ecosystem?
Perfect. Yeah, so the NFTs, when we call NFTs, as I said that apart from the JPEGs and the collectibles, it's already getting a lot of momentum from the enterprises segments as well. If you see, the auto industry ranging from Mahindras to MGs to Hyundai's, they have also starting adopting the NFTs and its related utilities associated with it. So when the enterprise class segments are trusting the technology, it's the industry shift is already has started, which I do believe. As per the understanding of the ecosystem which Acknowledger is focusing on, so we proudly say that we are a collaborative platform, we are not a competitive platform. And the beauty of our platform which we are creating is that we can onboard as many as businesses into our platform, so that our users can visualize. We have already have more than 200 kind of ecosystem partners ranging from Polygon, Engine, a wide range of DeFi market segments onboarding us, a lot of NFT marketplaces who are coming to us, a lot of layer 2 solutions we have already been talking to and integrating. So the overall growth of the ecosystem has been superficial, and we nearly target to tap each and every projects or startups or infrastructure who's are coming up with the digital solutions. Okay, in short, we are trying to streamline this space, and it is pretty necessary so that the end user, the end consumer who are adopting the digital assets altogether, understand that why it is an asset that they would probably like to acquire apart from the collections. Again, coming back to the part, for example, what I visualize going forward is that everything would be collaborated under a single piece of umbrella. The metaverse is the digital assets. I was talking to one of the gentlemen in past where he was quite interested to understand what's the real world adoptions that's going to kick in, how you can integrate all the businesses, the inline business, the line of businesses are going to integrate with the web3 or the NFT spaces, right? So I gave him an example stating that imagine that you would probably like to meet a friend for a coffee and you're sitting in your house and you would probably wear a 3D headset. Maybe today you have got guys AI Oculus on those ground. You would be probably coming to a different world. That's the metaverse, okay? And you will probably go down to your house and you will probably drive a car to a mall. Maybe it could be an any mall or metaverse mall. So the car which you are driving would be associated as an digital assets, as an NFT to your decentralized wallet, right? When you go, you want to experience something, you would probably like to buy something, maybe a Zara or a at the Villa Fashion Group stores. You would might go and you bought a shirt, a formal shirt. You would be probably paying it with Color Plus tokens or a Peter England tokens. That's the token association which you got. And imagine that Flipkart or any other delivery purposes are delivering you the shirts over there in your house. You go and order and sits in a pub or a Starbucks. You order a coffee and you get a coffee paying by a Starbucks token. So that's how the revolutionary and adoptions which will be kicking in into the real world businesses. And the ecosystem over here is not only coming from the end user or the consumer's perspective. The enterprise class segments and businesses are also looking forward for entering into this on a massive ground. So that's what I could visualize going forward. So
Right.
that's what I feel. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And Rahul, extending this further, Kuntal briefly talked about the experience in metaverse, and we have been seeing that quite a few users initially join one or the other metaverses, but right now the number of active users are very less. And as we understand that the necessary tools or the ecosystem components are being built right now to get more and more immersive experience. You have the concept of NFT museum in the metaverse. So tell us brief about how the adoption is happening, how you are seeing user traction or brands traction into the metaverse.
Correct. So as Kuntal have wisely mentioned about one point that there are so many Web 2.0 companies who are planning to come into Web 3.0, and probably let's just quickly understand with this kind of example, and that will quickly elaborate our logic behind our NFT museum, which is there in the metaverse. Like tomorrow, if Starbucks wanted to open up their particular store in the metaverse and probably wanted to sell their coffees into the Star tokens only. So for us people, it technically took us 11 months scratching our hands to build what we people have are sitting at this particular moment. So now we can enable any business who is currently into Web 2.0 and planning to come into Web 3.0, specifically into the metaverse space via NFT tokenization. We can probably get them onboarded within a week's time. So that is being possible. While talking about the adoption, as on today, a lot of people are able to see metaverse or the digital avatars as in the cartoon, and not very much dedicated serious towards the same. But into the near future, what we people can expect is the digital identity authentication out of it. You have your own digital avatar which have the ability to drive you to your workplace, can get your coffee if you are wanted to buy out. Everything will be in the mode of NFTs. Likewise, if a lot of people will exchange their value into the NFTs, whereas the other people who might be interested in playing up the blockchain based games can be onboarded also with MetaVale World and can start off their journey right away. And moreover, like there are so many new blockchains which are being coming up, specifically being aligned for their own specific domains. Likewise, there is not any NFT marketplace which is dedicatedly for to the metaverse space. Like as I've mentioned earlier, as on today we are only integrated with 3 blockchains, but planning to get more blockchains on with our product, so that the adoption will be onto a mass level and people will actually understand the true gravity of what are the possibilities that we people can do into the metaverse space as well as with the NFTs.
Got it. Thanks, Rahul. Yeah, now coming to Web3 infrastructure. So Web3 infrastructure as a space is expanding in last couple of years. We are seeing, and the good thing is there are quite a few Indian startups who are entering into this space. There are startups who are getting into forensics, startups who are building analytics tools, and there are startups like Unmarshall who are building ledger data APIs. So, question to you, Ghan, as to what do you see? What kind of role startups like Zeev play in the adoption of Web3, and what kind of adoption you are seeing from developers, investors who are using the staking nodes, or different partners who are coming up with the L1 and L2 blockchains.
Right. So, we talked about Web 2 to Web 3 transformation. We talked about, making things ready for, easier adoption and all. So where Zeev actually, stands, in terms of, where it positions itself to make all this happen is in between. So it's a bridge from, Web 2 to Web 3 in one sense, because when you actually transition from Web 2 to Web 3, you have to, set up networks, you have to deploy nodes. Now, if it is about permission blockchains, I think someone can connect well there. It's about setting up complex supply chain networks, complex trade finance networks, and at the back you are running maybe R3 Coda, maybe Hyperledger Fabric, and so many complex topologies like that. So Zeev simply makes it easier for you in the sense that you can come in. It's a no-code platform, click go kind of approach, where even these complex technologies are easy to set up. So it means that the leap is very short. You simply come in, and from a Web 2 environment, if you're coming in, for you, it's it's pretty much, if you can operate Facebook, you can operate blockchain networks, and then you can start developing web applications, mobile applications, user-facing applications, I primarily mean. And on the public blockchain side, when most of the developers, like Kuntal, Shrishti, they mentioned already that a lot of developers are coming in and they're trying to build NFT applications, DeFi applications, and whatnot. So they require easy access to blockchain networks to do transactions, to deploy smart contracts, to execute everything they need to do to achieve the outcomes from their applications. So these actually allow you to set up nodes if you require dedicated nodes for a specific purpose, applications. If you would require RPC plug and play endpoints, we can set it up in no time. And then again, stretching it further to the stakeholders as well, who participate in the ecosystem. Because when we build apps, we do transactions, but then there are validators who validate those transactions, packed inside a block. They're called stakers, or validator nodes. We've also provide one-click validator nodes. Now, this is very important for the validator node ecosystem, because most of the validators are run by investors and similar parties who do not possess technology knowledge like we guys do. So they require an easy approach or easy interface to set up their nodes, start staking, start contributing back to the Web3 economy. So this is a whole suite of application, or you can say infrastructure enablement we do at Zeev to further propel it.
Great, thanks, Ghan. Ghan briefly mentioned about permission protocols and public protocols. And earlier, 2 years back, the divide was very clear. There were public protocols like Ethereum, Polygon, Avalanche, etc. And most of the public use cases where you wanted to have, permissionless kind of network, anybody can join in, more transparency on the data, etc. We're using public protocols. And then on the other side, enterprises typically were using Fabric or R3 Coda like protocols, where they can define or they can onboard permissioned actors on the network, and there's a closed network with proper access controls, etc., and privacy. But now we are seeing that the things are bridging now. So there are quite a few public protocols, especially starting with Polkadot and Lisk, to now if you talk about Polygon supernets or Avalanche subnets and substrate parachains. Now you can create different flavors of blockchain. So you can have a public blockchain. It can be running as a spoke to the hub like Polkadot or Avalanche. And at the same time, you can keep it segregated as an independent blockchain or as a private blockchain. So a lot of flavors are coming in. So coming on the enterprise side, enterprise adoption was typically very slow in the initial few years. But in last 2 years, we are seeing some real implementations happening, whether it be supply chain, whether it be financial services like remittances, etc., trade finance. and then in the capital market. So, what kind of use cases you are seeing a larger adoption across industries, Suman?
Hi, thanks again. In fact, very pointed question, and thanks for giving it to me. Because even at LTI, what we are doing is actually exploring and evaluating this Web3 services with our present clientele. When I say that present clientele, most of them are from the BFS sector. So when now looking at Web3 and where it can take us is primarily on the fact that how DeFi, like you mentioned again, comes into the foray. DeFi, we already are seeing these use cases there. But with the cross-border payments, I think this is where it is also poised to be reached, if not already done, because we are looking at how DeFi is taking center stage. The other use cases are what even Rahul mentioned or Srishti mentioned, is about the Web3 community getting the incentive back of their own data, which is the NFT, NFTification, if that is the word, or NFTified, where through tokenization, this is the second use case which we are already seeing. We have seen how the likes of Starbucks are using the Odyssey, which is a beautiful concept of not only having a CAC, but looking at the customer as a lifetime value. What are the loyalty points and how you maintain the lifetime value of the customers? And this is where, even at LTI, we're looking at to build up the capabilities and the assets. But ultimately, the market is aligning to a service through these products in which you're actually sort of doing this incentive-based mechanism, giving that data back through DAOs, through a DeFi, and like I said, through NFT. So top three use cases, according to me, as I see it, will be based out of these three verticals. How we give back power to people through DAOs, the DeFi, which is already there because we are moving towards having loan systems and the collaterals based on NFTs. So all this is where, and this is exactly, if we even look at the hype cycle of Gartner, and we look at the plateau productivity, and the DeFi, the wallets, as well as the cryptocurrencies are nearing the plateau of productivity. I'm talking about the hype cycle, which Dr. Martha was explaining just a while back. So that is the top three use cases, I would say, as per if you look at where the Web3 industry is poised.
Yeah, I guess he's having audio issues again. But now I think at this juncture, we might we might want to pull in a few questions from audience if there are.
Yes. So thank you, Gan. Thank you, Gan, for this thing. Mr. Ravi has questions from the audience. But if you have any other questions that you would like to ask the panelists, I think we have a couple of minutes left. I think we would request you to ask those questions, and then we can wrap up, please. Thank you.
Right. Right. So from the enterprise space specifically, where someone was speaking about how and what are the use cases we are targeting now as an industry ecosystem to make it better. Now I think I'll maybe take it back to Srishti again, in the sense that because she's been into web public ecosystem a lot. Now how do you Srishti think that the transition or the integration of hybrid blockchain ecosystem would actually come in play on top of all these solutions which are built and already are in market? How do they transition into a hybrid blockchain upgrade, I would say, is a better word for that.
Mm-hmm. So, see, when we talk about Web3 as an ecosystem, we are pointing towards enterprise as well, because that is where the blockchain as a technology has lots of perks to offer to the enterprise as well. And we have seen the DeFi hype, we have seen the NFT hype. I guess the next, after this beer, the crypto winter passes on, the next hype would be on the enterprise side. So that is something which we need to be prepared for. And talking about enterprise, not all the industries want their data to be public. It's something which which is their choice. If they want to go with the public stuff, they can go with the public blockchain. They sometimes want a permission blockchain as well. So also we can come up with a hybrid kind of solution to that. Depends on the use case and the demand what they have. And I see a lot of I see a lot of things coming in the enterprise side. And I guess public permission as well as a hybrid thing, according to the industry use case, is something which, as a I would say, us as a first movers advantage, we understand the industry, we understand what to offer to a newcomer. If someone comes us to us with a requirement, we know what to offer. So we should come up and tell what is the best fit for them.
Right. I think Dr. Ravi is back, so I'll hand it over to him.
Yeah. So thanks, everyone. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I think we are wrapping up. Just one last question. I was mentioning that there are quite a few protocols which have come up in the market. Some are general purpose blockchain protocols. Some are application specific protocols. So just as a binary response, each one of you, what do you think? Are we going to see consolidation, or are we going to see a multi-chain future? Srishti, starting with you.
Multi-chain for sure, because each and every chain which comes up with a a new ideology or something, a purpose to solve. So together, it's like a puzzle. We fit each other, and according to use case which the problem statement requires, we can go with the chain which is required. So definitely multi-chain.
Ghan, what do you think?
I would say it has already begun. Look at Polkadot, look at Algorand, look at Binance, look at Polygon. Everybody has got a sidechain concept coming in. Cross-chain, interop hybrid solutions are coming in. So I would say it has begun. So let's prepare for that.
Rahul, what do you think?
Obviously a multi-chain platform, because everybody have their own specific use cases. Somebody specifically wanted to focus onto the security side, whereas the other people, some of them wanted to maybe focus onto the scalability, and that's how actually the blockchain dilemma is actually at the end of the day. So let the customers, the community members, or the company should decide which blockchain they wanted to enter in, but ultimately the ecosystem should be enabling a multi-chain platform for everybody.
I think Kuntal, you can take the question next.
Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yes, Mr. Kumar.
or should I take it next? Yeah. Go ahead, Kuntal.
Yeah, so for all the layer ones, I'll try to give you a different perspective over here. For all the layer one and layer two, they have a set of different offerings, right? And it's all about the ecosystem adoptions, the DApps, those are built on those layer one or layer two solutions. The thing upon why it should be multi-chain is that if you restrict an ecosystem or a DApp to a certain infrastructure, the expansion faces a problematic future altogether. So the future has to be multi-chain, and the consumer should be free to adopt or migrate from one chain to other change depending upon the best experiences they would probably like to have. Certainly there should be a lot of good infrastructure bridges that has to be in the place to make this adoption possible. The protocols has to be further strengthening up coming into the downline of the future. So that's one of the segment which the industry is lacking right moment of time, which I do feel. But as we move ahead, multi-chain for sure, and that's how we will be growing and looking forward the future. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, Suman.
Yeah, and I think taking a cue out of what you said, Kuntal, but a different and assembling it together. At layer one, I see a consolidation in the sense I see in the sense when I say that, looking at Ethereum merge and how it's and what all it's bringing in, the fact about the green chain. So there will be consolidation at the layer one, but all of you are absolutely correct, and I totally echo when it's layer two with the likes of Polygon, or layer zero at Cosmos. We are seeing multi-chain, side chains, all of them bringing it up. Because ultimately, I would also always leave it at the level of what Aristotle said, that whole is greater than the sum of its parts. And that is where we are poised. That we'll look at an entity of a blockchain, which is a consortium of sorts, with consolidation maybe at layer one, but layer two and layer zero, through the side chains, you will need to have multi-chains. That is how I see this happening.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Thanks, everyone. I think it was an excellent discussion today. I hope everyone who has joined this panel discussion enjoyed it. So I would just add my final remarks. We are very excited to be part of the Web3 ecosystem, and we are seeing massive adoption of Web3. A lot of startups coming from India, and playing a role at the global level. So that's very.
I think it would be fair to say I think we are at the end of the session. So first of all, this has been a fantastic panel discussion. Thank you to all the panelists, and thank you to Mr. Chamria. Thank you, Gun, also for taking the responsibility of jumping in between. I really appreciate it. So that's where we come to the end of the panel discussion. Thank you, everyone, and have a rest of the great day. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone, and special thanks to the
Thanks for the
audience.
opportunity, and
Bye-bye.
lovely hearing all of you. Yeah. Bye.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.